This is a big summer for superhero movies, and we have three specifically that I want to discuss here really quick. Thunderbolts just released this past Friday, and it's getting rave reviews, but only time will tell how much money this movie actually makes. Then in the beginning of July, we're getting James Gunn's new Superman movie, which is kickstarting a brand new DC universe. And then in the end of July, we're getting the hotly anticipated Fantastic Four. And what I want to talk about here isn't necessarily the quality, because I think all of these movies are going to be fantastic. The Thunderbolts was the best thing we've gotten since Endgame in terms of like a serious, well thought out story with great character arcs. James Gunn has done nothing but prove that he understands this genre. All three of his Guardians of the Galaxy films were amazing, so I have no doubt that Superman's going to be at least good. And Fantastic Four is one of Kevin Feige's most beloved properties. I understand that we've gotten some bad Fantastic Four movies in our time, which has put a lot of people off and maybe made the excitement for this film lesser than it should be, but they got Matt Shakman, who did WandaVision, which was phenomenal and the best thing they did on Disney Plus, and the full backing of Kevin Feige and his full attention with a phenomenal cast here. How could I not be excited for this film? And the trailers have me really intrigued. So the question is, out of the three of these films, what do I think will be the best and which do I think will make the most money? Now, in terms of quality, I think that it's going to follow in this order. I think Thunderbolts will have the best quality, followed by Superman, followed by Fantastic Four. Not to say that I think Fantastic Four is going to be bad, but just from looking at all three trailers, it seems like Thunderbolts had the most serious tone, and it was tackling themes that we haven't seen in the MCU before, like depression and loneliness and what it means to be an outcast and just wanting a family, and that really resonates with me. So from a quality standpoint, I think that we're looking at Thunderbolts being the most mature. Superman is next. It's making a new cinematic universe, and I think that for even the people that are hating on Superman and are Marvel fans, what Superman has going for it is that, again, even the people that want to hate on Superman, people love to watch things crash and burn and will buy a ticket for just that. People will show up to see this movie to see if it's going to suck as bad as they either want it to or think it will be. And then you have the people that are excited about it. And there's just a lot of buzz around this movie. Will it be good? Will David Cornsweet be good? Will Rachel Brosnahan be good as Lois Lane? Will Nicholas Hoult be good as Lex Luthor? It has a lot of people intrigued. The trailer for this movie has the most views in Warner Brothers history. And from the trailer alone, the tone looks really good. James Gunn clearly gets Superman. He is supposed to be a bright beacon of hope that the world can count on. And just putting that little boy holding up the flag, praying that Superman was going to show up, and then seeing all the shots of Superman saving the little girl from the crumbling building, and stopping a monster from destroying a skyscraper with people inside it. It just seems like they're nailing the tone that we got from the Christopher Reeve Superman, which is what I've been earning for since those movies. I love Man of Steel, but beacon of hope he was not. He was very dour, and it was very muted and monotoned, and he lived in this very dark world, which again, I enjoyed that iteration of Superman, but for me personally, growing up with the comics and the cartoons, Superman was always supposed to be smiling and hopeful and optimistic and someone that people can count on, and the goody two-shoes, the square, if you will. And I think that a lot of people are excited to show up and see that. Then we have the Fantastic Four, which I think looks good, but they have a lot of baggage behind them because every Fantastic Four film they've ever made sucks. And say what you will, I know the original ones that came out with Fox years ago has its fans, but they're not good movies. They're super cheesy and campy, and they weren't great. They didn't make a lot of money, and then they had a new one come out with Miles Teller, and not a lot of people liked that one. And this new Fantastic Four has a big shadow looming over it with those movies, and you couple that with the fact that Marvel hasn't been in a good place lately. Yes, Thunderbolts is getting great reviews, but it's not tracking to open huge. It's only tracking to open at like $75 million, which is what Captain America Brave New World was tracking for, which actually opened a little bit more to poor reviews and went on to make like $400 million. And outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel hasn't made a lot of money with their movies since Avengers Endgame. So it has a rough hill that it's going to climb. So from a quality standpoint, like I said, it's Thunderbolts, Superman, and Fantastic Four. Now to the question of what's going to make the most money. Again, I think it's going to be Superman, because as much as I loved Thunderbolts, it's coming off the heels of Captain America Brave New World, which didn't make a lot of money, and it's featuring a bunch of B-level characters that most of the population doesn't care about, especially because you need to do some homework to see this movie. Most people don't know who Yelena is unless they've seen Black Widow, which not a lot of people have, and if you haven't seen Hawkeye, you didn't see her second appearance because she was in that show. Most people don't know who Red Guardian is unless they've seen Black Widow, which again, most people have not. Most people aren't going to know who Walmart bin Captain America is if they haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, which, let's be honest, not a lot of people have if they don't have Disney Plus. Not as many people that show up to watch the movies want to watch the TV shows. Not a lot of people are going to know who Ghost is if they haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. And you had to do homework and watch all these other projects to watch this, so it's not a movie that people could just come in, sit down and watch without having previous knowledge from other movies in this franchise. So I can't imagine this movie is going to be the next billion-dollar movie. I hope it makes a lot of money and it is successful and we get a sequel because it's the best thing we've gotten since Endgame, but I can't see it making as much money as Marvel wants it to. And it's the same with Fantastic Four. Like I said before, it has a lot of baggage behind it that it needs to overcome, and I think that a lot of people are put off with Marvel right now. Unless the movie is like a nostalgia bait where it has a Spider-Man in it from the Sony universe or it's bringing back Fox characters, those seem to be the only movies that are making a lot of money because it's relying on the nostalgia to bring people back to see things that they grew up with, whereas in all of these original movies aren't really making that much money. And then again, you couple that with the baggage that Fantastic Four has, and I just don't see it making a ton of money. Whereas in Superman is creating an entirely new cinematic universe. There's no baggage behind this one. It's an entirely new cast. You have fans of DC that want to show up to see this. You have the 4 quadrant of people that are going to show up to see this, because at the end of the day, you might not be a diehard superhero fan, but everyone on the planet knows who Superman is because he's the grandfather of superheroes. My dad knows who Superman is. My mom knows who Superman is. My grandma knew who Superman was before she, God rest her soul, passed away. Nobody knows who the Thunderbolts is, and not a lot of people, including my parents, know who the Fantastic Four is, because as much as they've been a staple in the Marvel Universe for the last 50, 60 years, they were never as popular as Superman. So you're going to get the 4 quadrant audience along with the fans of Superman, and then on top of that, you're going to get the haters that are going to show up just because they want to see it crash and burn. So I think that at the end of the day, Superman is going to make the most money. But what do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. What do you think is going to be the best in terms of quality, and what do you think is going to make the most money? I'd love to talk about it, and as always guys, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.